Joining us now is OG Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Genix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. You're smiling too much.
Yes, because I know you enjoyed your weekend.
I did. You did too. You did too. Miss Yellow, this is Yellow. You told me what yellow is. Now I know. You look beautiful.
Morning. So do you. Thank you.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, 11 paintings and other artwork by Pablo Ruiz Picasso were sold during an auction over the weekend for more than $100 million at Sotheby's in Las Vegas. The artworks, which had been on display for years, were sold just days before the 140th posthumous birthday of the Spanish artist who was born on October 25th, 1881. And a pair of trainers worn by basketball legend Michael Jordan also sold at Sotheby's for a record $1.47 million. The trainers were worn during Michael Jordan's first season with the Chicago Bulls in 1984. The price is the highest ever paid for Game 1 footwear from any sport. In Colombia, Dario Antonio Usuga, better known as Otoniel, the country's most wanted drug trafficker, was captured over the weekend after a joint Army, Air Force, and police operation. Otoniel led the country's largest criminal gang and has been on the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency's most wanted list for years. U.S. officials had placed a $5 million bounty on his head. In Nigeria, reactions trail fresh charges preferred against Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, by Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, after linking him to various destructive activities, including killings of prominent persons and 175 security agents, and the destruction of about 164 police stations and formations.
On 21st October 2020, Nnamdi Kanu, through an online call-in radio program, Radio Biafra, further instigated IFOP members to burn down all police stations and kill government security forces, which was carried out, and several security personnel, especially police officers, were killed and public and private properties destroyed.
Under sports, 29-year-old Egyptian forward Mohamed Salah delivered a stunning hat-trick when Liverpool defeated Manchester United 5-0 in their English Premier League encounter. On Sunday, Salah became the first Liverpool player in history to score in 3 games in a row at Old Trafford. Finally, under entertainment, a vigil was held in New Mexico to mourn the death of 42-year-old cinematographer Helena Hutchins, who was fatally shot by actor Alec Baldwin on the film set of his movie Rust after he discharged a prop gun containing a live round. Hutchins' death has renewed calls for computer-generated imagery to be used for prop guns to reduce the risk of people getting killed on film sets. Well, let's begin what's trending with this story. In the aftermath of the recent police brutality witnessed during the 1-year anniversary of the NSAS protests, victims are toeing the legal route to get justice. Adetotun Clement, an Uber driver that was assaulted by some officers of the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps, and the Nigerian police force is demanding the sum of 500 million naira as compensation for the gross violation of his fundamental rights to dignity of the human person, personal liberty and property, deprivation of his source of livelihood, and destruction of his vehicle. In addition to payment of monetary compensation, Clement is also demanding that disciplinary measures be taken against the officers who assaulted him, as well as a written apology from the state government. I mean, I think that a written apology is due really at this point. This was so horrific what happened to this young man. I mean, look at this assault by this police officer, especially. So uncalled for. He was clearly unarmed, and I think that justice should be served immediately. This is really horrendous what happened. Ini Behe F. Young, who you guys interviewed on NSARS, they gave a stunning speech. I think we could just pull that up before, I can take your comment. If we can pull up Inibehe Effiong, who is actually his attorney on this case.
Nigeria is a lawless country. When you have a commissioner of police, Mr. Dosumo, when you have a CP who continuously goes on public record to tell people in Lagos State that he would not allow people to protest, and even had the audacity to say that he will only allow indoor gathering. And I heard the commissioner say that they are also human beings. We are all human beings, Dr. Batty. It is condemnable that some policemen lost their lives. But the commissioner has not acknowledged that 99 persons were killed and murdered in Lagos State during the protest, as stated by the state pathologists at the Lagos panel. 99. These people also have families. So the fact that policemen are human beings does not derogate from their obligation to enforce the law and respect the right of protesters. What the Commissioner of Police has said, the Commissioner of Information, is an indictment on the police, because he's saying that, in essence, that the policemen are indisciplined. They are incapable of respecting the law. They are above the rule of law because they are human beings. This kind of excuse must not be tolerated in a democracy. And these policemen from the Commissioner of Police must be made to understand that this country fought for democracy. People lost their life to chase the military out of power. And we cannot have a Commissioner of Police that goes about as an emperor. And if the governor of Lagos State cannot bring him to a point where he will respect the rights of Lagosians, let Governor Sanwo-Olu write to the president, write to the Police Service Commission, write to the CP, and request for the redeployment of the Commissioner of Police. Until he has done that, Governor Sanwo-Olu must take responsibility for the violation of the rights of Lagosians, for the harassment of journalists, and the continued disdain for rule of law and democracy in Lagos State.
Well, in another development, a video making the rounds captured actor-comedian Debo Adedayo, popularly known as Mr. Macaroni, confronting police officers over an alleged extortion of a motorist. In the video, the motorist said he was made to transfer 30,000 naira to an account by the officers. Let's take a look.
You want to show him. You want to blow his head. You want to blow his head. Show them. Show all of them. What did happen? You don't even. No, don't change the story. Okay. Anybody got a story? Don't stop. Get this guy on camera for me. Just collect the money from me. Get him on camera for me. Get them on camera. Do you have evidence for the transaction? Get them on camera for me. Get them on camera for me. Part of the corruption where we talk about. That's part of the corruption. No, this man, leave him. This man like to show himself. Record him for me. He like to show himself. Record him for me.
Tundu, I'll come to you for analysis on both stories.
What was I saying the other day? Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. Nothing has changed. It's so maddening that after so many died, businesses ruined, looted, so much destruction, nothing has changed. People are still being extorted by those paid to protect them. I talked earlier in the show about the Economist article and how I tend to take Western media's portrayals of Nigeria and Africa in general with a bucket load of salt. But this is a point that they made in that article, and it cannot be argued. You shared a story with us, OG, recently about Kogi State and a passenger being forced to an ATM, slapped. Nothing has changed. And about Inibehe Effiong Esquire doing what needs to be done, which is typical for him. He's always spot on about these issues. And his client, Adedotun Clement, there was no reason for him to be brutalized in that fashion. That man was not even a protester. And we actually thank God for his life, because you recall this time last year, there was a man who was not a protester, who was just an innocent bystander, and he was killed just standing on the street. That could have been Adedotun Clement's fate. Look at how they were manhandling him. They could have snapped his neck like a twig. Anything could have happened to him. Yes. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, prejudge a case, but for me, this is open and shut. The evidence here is compelling. Also, the way his car was vandalized. You'll recall that this gentleman was driving a passenger. In the melee, both of them got out of the car and ran. How did he end up in this state, being bundled into a Black Maria like a common criminal, a Nigerian just going about his daily business, trying to earn a living, treated like this for no reason? And then the people who were found on this video to have treated him in this way were given 2 months suspension. It's offensive.
No,
it is offensive.
It's unacceptable.
2 months, 2 lousy months suspension.
Yes, his attorney is requesting that they be dismissed.
They have to be.
They have to be dismissed. This is unacceptable behavior.
Okay, well, big irony here. The main problem that led to that NSAS memorial was police brutality, the abuse of uniform, the cruel manner in which those who have been classified as friends of the people, we hear that the police are supposed to be our friends. But part of the problem is that these policemen, they tend to behave more like an army of occupation on the streets of Nigeria. And specifically, the Economist story you were referring to, although we just isolated that part of it, that you may not be able to quarrel with it. This confirms what the Economist was saying about the police. The Economist says specifically that Nigerian policemen on the streets rob the same people that they are supposed to protect. And here you had a very good example with regard to Dayo Adebayo, the comedian, engaging in citizen action. The young man in that latter part of the video had been asked to transfer money. And that's what happens on a regular basis. If you are arrested for one reason or the other, you are not even given the opportunity to defend yourself. You are asked to transfer money into the account of the police officers. And Mr. Macaroni, was there, and he insisted that the money must be returned, and he was protesting. But how many Nigerians will have that courage to confront the police and be asking that you should get them on camera? He too could have been shot.
Yes.
Because Nigerian policemen will tell you they will waste you and nothing will happen. So this is a classic case of impunity. I hope that the police will pay attention to that, this video that is on the screen and identify those officers and ensure that they are sanctioned. The same thing for the maltreatment of the Clement guy, the Uber driver.
Yes.
As Tunu said, yes, when the tear gas canisters were fired, he had to run, he had to abandon his vehicle. By the time he came back, his vehicle had been taken, has been towed away. And he kept saying he was not part of it. The one famous part of that video was when they wanted to bundle him into the Black Maria.
Yes.
He kept saying no member of his family had ever entered this kind of vehicle. So you could, understand his anguish, his frustration. And look at it there, This uniformed men, they take the law into their hands. Even if a man has committed a traffic offense, it's not for you to give judgment, extrajudicially and ask that money be transferred. That fine,
what was the 30,000
that fine was not coming from a court of law. And even the road safety corps and the VIO office,
yes.
They have specific penalties. These policemen, they will impose penalty. The man they were brutalizing, that's not under the laws of Nigeria.
No.
And that is why, in his own case, he has taken the appropriate step to ask his lawyer, his attorney, to write the Attorney General of Lagos State. And we hope that the Attorney General of Lagos State will take up the matter and try to address the specific demands, the specific prayers accordingly. But if he fails, of course, anybody counsel, has said they will go to court. So what they've given is a notice of likely legal proceedings. But there's another leg to it. The police commissioner was asked, what he had done about this, his own side of it, the policemen that were there, as different from the officials of the Lagos neighborhood, task force. And he said, well, nobody has filed any formal complaint before the police, and that the police cannot act on what is not before them. But I hope the Attorney General of Lagos State will draw the attention of the police commissioner to it. And suspension is not enough. We must make good example, out of these, policemen who misbehave and who have turned themselves into enemies of the people. And that's why also the demand 4 on the list of 5 demand talks about psychological evaluation of policemen.
Absolutely.
And Minister Lai Mohammed, when he was addressing the issue on October 20, said, well, the government of Nigeria has even taken the position that there should be psychological evaluation for serving policemen and also for new recruits,
Yes.
because it looks like there is a category of policemen that has emerged in Nigeria that really needs to, go to the shrink on a regular basis.
I'm glad you brought up the 5-point demand, because even point 5, which says that they have to review the salaries of the police officer, is the one.
That's number 5.
Number 5 is the one that has not even had any review at all.
And President Buhari ordered a review, and nothing has happened.
So you see, why would the policemen not want to extort money if they're going to continue to live under that type of conditions? I mean, I'm not making any excuses for them. And then you also raised a very valid point, which is the VIO offices. There's protocol. You go in there and you pay for your fine. I mean, you cannot extort money from people in Nigeria. It is unacceptable, really unacceptable. We'll take another story. The 2023 presidential race is fast approaching, while many are debating who will become Nigeria's next president. Supporters of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Nigeria's vice president, Professor Yemi Osibajo, have been seen to be pushing their agenda. James Faleke, a member of the House of Representatives, over the weekend called on the national leader to formally announce his presidential aspiration, while insisting that he is the right man for the job because he fought corruption with technology and native intelligence in Lagos. Well, in the same vein, the Progressive Consolidation Group, a group in the All Progressives Congress, also called on the vice president to take up the mantle. Well, here's a video of the group chanting on the streets of Lagos to galvanize support for the vice president. Let's take a look. I mean, I thought it was quite cute to see this group of people, I mean, I don't know if it's the right thing to do at this point, but I mean, this is happening on the streets of Lagos. This group of people walking around trying to incentivize Nigerians to vote for the vice president, even though he hasn't come out to show that he wants to become president of Nigeria.
No, it's perfectly normal, natural in these climes, which is how you have politicians saying, the people have said I must contest. I didn't actually want to do it, but the people, it's the people. So this is what we have here. Yes. But I thought that was so funny from James Faleke, affiliative intelligence. I thought that was so funny. But I think, a lot of people have made much about Bola Tinubu's political, knack that he has. He has a natural talent, people say, for all things political. But I think it's really good to see the people who are interested throwing their hats in the ring. You have Bola Tinubu, you have the vice president, you have Pastor Tunde Bakare in today's This Day, all from the Southwest. I'm wondering where our Southeastern brothers are. Come forth, please. Although they haven't actually come forth. It's their support groups that are coming forth. And I find it really interesting to go back to James Faleke, that he talked about anti-corruption. Again, plus ça change. It was the huge election issue in 2015. And even though I completely, slated the way the Western media portrays Africa, I have to refer once again to that article in The Economist, which mentioned the fact that the sort of limitations in President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in their fight against anti-corruption, it's been such a damp squib. A lot of people have been disappointed with how that went. So it continues to be an election issue going into 2023. And that just speaks volumes to me. It's one of the cardinal principles of the change agenda. And we haven't quite seen it. If we had, it would not be the talking point now. Security continues to be a talking point. What has changed there? The economy continues to be a talking point. I wish I could say what has changed there. We're much worse off. It's sad.
Dr. Abati, your analysis.
Well, Nigeria must be one of those few countries in the world where people are forced, blackmailed, pushed, cajoled, compelled, to run for public office. In some other serious crimes, when people are interested in a position, they will be the ones who will offer themselves for service. And, it's this disconnect that we have. When people get into office, we have many people in public offices, elective positions, who behave like, indeed, they were not interested. They were just forced to come there. But I guess that's one of the low points, about the way we play politics in Nigeria. The other side of it, of course, is that some people will say, where is the strategy? But I guess going forward, it will be better. It will serve our purpose better if persons who are interested in the highest office in the land are the ones themselves who show that interest, who declare when the timetable for declaration or for the showing of interest is out there. I would hate to see a situation whereby in the future, someone will emerge as president, and the story we will hear, the standard excuse was, oh, I wasn't even interested. I was forced. I was pushed. However, I've made that point to state that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not yet declared publicly that he wants to be president in 2023. But you have these groups. The way the drama is going, you end up having more support groups than the number of political parties in Nigeria. Because what the Tinubu support group did in Abuja was to set up steering committees in all the states of the federation. Before you know it, all these come and be president by force groups will be more than the political parties. Now, it's been said by another group that is promoting the national leader of the APC, that in fact within the party he should be given the offer of first refusal because there's no other person within the APC that can challenge him. So that I find ironic. Is there something like that in the constitution of the All Progressives Congress? I do not know. Now, as for the vice president, yes, you have that progressive consolidation group. Those people dancing all over the streets of Lagos. Some people are not very busy. Now, but the vice president also has not openly declared. And the head of that group, the PCG, says, well, we want the vice president. He has not declared. He's not desperate to be president. But that their group was the first to be recognized by the All Progressives Congress as a group that has more or less nominated the vice president for the presidential position. However, in all of this, I think people should be reminded that it is the people of Nigeria that will choose who will lead them and who should be given the opportunity to vote in a free and fair, credible election process. And whoever is interested should come forward. James Faleke, who is representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, I don't think he's in a position to speak for, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So people should moderate their display of sycophancy, at a time when Nigeria needs to be serious about who leads this country in 2023. I'm waiting for persons who will confidently come forward and say, okay, I want to run. I want to be president of Nigeria. And those are the people we will engage with, not all these dancing sycophants, in some streets of Lagos.
Can we leave it on that note? Dancing sycophants. What are you saying?
Kingsley Mahalo, from the Southeast. He's come straight out to say he wants to run.
Better.
Yes, that happened. Well, on that note, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.